We do have a distinguished guest with us today who I'm going to recognize, Carlos Flores Vizcarra, the General Counsel of Mexico. If you would come and address this subject briefly and answer any of the members' questions. We did have some members last meeting request your presence here, so welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members of the House of Representatives of North Carolina's Assembly General. My name is Carlos Flores. I am Ambassador Flores from the Mexican Foreign Service. I have been appointed by President Calderon since October 2009 as Consul General of Mexico to the Carolinas. It is an honor to serve in this great community. I will be very brief in order to convey to you the fundamental information about the consular ID that Mexican consulates throughout the world issue to Mexican nationals who live abroad. The so-called Matrícula Consular is issued by the Consular Network of Mexico throughout the world, and it is issued to Mexicans living abroad only. And it is in compliance with international law, in particular with the Vienna Convention on Consular Affairs, Article 5. The Consular ID program got started in March 2002, particularly in response to post-9/11 concerns in the U.S. The Matrícula Consular has 13 cutting-edge security features. Some of them are visible, some of them are encrypted. The consular ID is issued, as I said, only to Mexican nationals. Biometrics are collected and are digitized in a code that has the capacity of 1 megabyte. Also, the consular ID is a machine-readable travel document, such as a passport, and it goes by the standardized characteristics established by the International Civil Aviation Organization based in Quebec, Canada. The main purpose of the ID is to establish positive identification and proof of nationality of the bearers. All Mexican nationals abroad are entitled to obtain a matricula if they comply with the following requirements: a proof of nationality, an official photo ID, proof of residency abroad, and they conduct a consular interview. The good impacts or positive impacts of the matricula we consider is that it allows to identify all Mexicans living in the U.S., where they're from, where do they live, and also they contribute by thus to with the collaboration of law enforcement agencies in the fight against crime. The matricula doesn't do certain things, and one thing that the matricula is not, it doesn't establish migratory status. The matricula is not either a driver's license. The matricula in the United States is accepted by the Internal Revenue Service in order for Mexican nationals to obtain an individual tax identification number that allows them to pay their income taxes. The high security matricula program is intended also to encourage Mexican nationals to refrain from using fake IDs. Over the past 8 years, the consular network in the U.S. that is made up of 55 entities has expedited over 5 million matriculas, which means that in these 8 years we have been able to identify the vast majority of Mexicans who live in the United States, regardless of their migratory status. The technological platform on which the matricula is based has been developed by an American IT company based in Florida after an international bid put out by the Mexican government. Matriculas are issued for a period of 5 years and have a cost of $27. According to document forensic experts, such as the case within the Phoenix Police Department, I was prior posted in Phoenix as Consul General in Arizona. They established that the matricula has cutting-edge security features that make it a reliable ID document. It is highly recommended, and that is one very respectful opinion that I want to convey to you, members of the legislature, that before determining an opinion about the matricula, we should rely on the information that could be conveyed to us by law enforcement officials. Thank you so much, and I am open to any questions you might have. Thank you, Chairman.
And I believe the members have a copy of your remarks. Let's see if there's any questions for the Consul General. Representative Ross.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much, Mr. Consul General, for coming and telling us the purpose of the matricular consulate. One issue that has come up is the use of this card in Mexico itself. And so could you tell us what the reason why you issued the card and why it doesn't necessarily have a purpose in Mexico, but it does have a purpose here in the United States or in any other foreign country?
Thank you for your question, and I will respond to it in very practical terms. Let's take as a good example what happened in Japan. Most Americans who lived in Japan or used to live in Japan were able to be reached by diplomatic agents in that country in order to put them out of harm's way by the registration that they made before the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo or before any other American consulate in that country. So every civilized country in the world expedites registration rights and registration cards to those nationals who live abroad. In the case of the Mexican ID, it is expedited only to Mexicans who live abroad, but the document is recognized within Mexico by Mexican law. That is, it is accepted to do banking transactions and for the purpose of identifying Mexican nationals within Mexico. I wonder if that answers your question.
Follow-up?
No.
Any further questions? Representative Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my question goes to the utilization and cooperation with U.S. Federal agencies as well as law enforcement agencies. You indicated that this document is also used in conjunction with the IRS to get the tax status for immigrants.
That is correct. Increasingly, national banks in the U.S. are accepting the matricula consular, have accepted the Mexican ID in order to, let's say, assimilate or invite those Mexicans who are working and living in the U.S., making a living in the U.S., to be educated in financial matters and financial services, and that they become part of, let's say, mainstream financial services. That increases the economic generation of these folks in the United States, and it allows for them also to send monies back to their country of origin, and this applies not only to Mexican nationals, but to all those immigrants who work and live in the United States, to send monies back to their families in a better fashion. That is, paying lower commissions and not being, let's say, ripped off when commissions and the rate of exchange is settled in the country of destination.
Follow-up, Representative Hall.
And I want to direct a question specifically to the point you indicated that the IRS accepts this document in doing the processing they need to do to establish the tax identification number?
Yes, sir. The IRS does accept the matricula and a secondary identification document expedited by us in order to provide Mexican nationals with a so-called individual tax identification number so that they can pay their dues. And we do encourage all those Mexican folks who come to the consulate to get the matricula to pay their dues, to pay their taxes.
Follow-up, Representative Hall.
And one last follow-up. Does the Mexican embassy as well as the Mexican consulate cooperate with the law enforcement authorities and in some instances provide information when required from this database?
Yes, Representative. As much as we can, we do our trade shows. making appointments with police departments, with sheriff's offices, in order to provide them with this information, of course, in a more ample manner, so that they can be acquainted with the technicalities of the consular ID, because it's a very helpful tool for them to fight crime within those communities.
Are there any further questions of the General Counsel? Representative Ross.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Your very first point here says that you are part of a network that's authorized by the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations. I assume that the United States is a party to that convention.
The U.S. is a founding member of the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, and of course Mexico and the U.S. have a long-standing consular agreement, a covenant. Thus, the documents that we expedite at the consulate are official Mexican documents that are backed by international law. Unfortunately, I am the only consul of Mexico in the Carolinas. So it is not, very common for the folks to know what our activities are. For instance, if you take Atlanta, Georgia has almost 23 consul generals living in that state. So it is my obligation and duty to try to reach out to you as much as I can in order to make myself available and to make our proceedings more understandable to you. Yes, we are a member of the Vienna Convention. Again, we only issue official Mexican documents. We do not meddle with any type of other documents, be it from Japan or the U.S. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.